So you moved in with your partner and you're like, okay, now who pays for what? Porque en otros tiempos el hombre pagaba por todo. La mujer se quedaba en casa, cooking, cleaning, being a stay-at-home mom. Pero someone fought really hard for women to be able to work. And also, have you seen this economy? So today I'm gonna break down how my husband and I split our finances. Okay, and sure, traditionally, el hombre pagaba por todo. The man or the masculine person would take care of the household and the woman would stay at home. But realistically, nowadays in this economy with this inflation, it's not realistic for one person to hold down a single household, at least not in the city. I've lived in Los Angeles and in Seattle, and I just don't see it realistic unless you live out in the boonies somewhere. The cost of living is just so insane right now that that's just a requirement in most places in the US. And if you're watching this video before you move in with your partner, keep in mind that, once you move in together, it's all about teamwork and not about pride, not about you pay for this. I don't use this. Those conversations, well, first off, you shouldn't have them after you move in. You should have them beforehand. And it's not a pride war. It's really not. It's if you're moving in together, you should have like that solid understanding between the two that you guys are a team. And I just want to clarify right now that every couple has different circumstances. Every couple has different debts. Every couple has different incomes. So what works for me may not work for everyone. It just works for my partner and I. And again, we discussed this a lot in detail before we moved in together. Y es lo que funciona para nosotros. My goal with this video is to set it as a guideline so that you can see the different options, or at least one option of what you can do when splitting finances with someone. Our split is very simple. We use the 50-20-30 rule. That means that of our paycheck, 100% of our paycheck, 50% of it goes into our joint account, and 20 and 30%, the other 50% goes into our personal accounts. So yes, we don't get all of our paychecks and use everything into a joint account. We have our accounts and then we have our separate accounts. So there's different pots of money. Having separate pots of money is very clean because we don't have to have a lot of money arguments, which is exactly what I was trying to avoid. In our joint account pot, which is where we deposit 50% of our money, that is our joint account. That is where all of our expenses come out of. Things like our rent, our electricity, the car bill, car insurance, renter's insurance, groceries, everything comes from there alone. So that's our essentials pot. That alone reduces so many financial arguments because we don't have to have conversations that I know other couples who put everything into their joint account. I've heard of couples have told me how they have arguments about one or the other spending way too much money or something. And I just don't like the idea of having to run every single purchase by my partner to make sure that they're in agreement with what I'm spending or that I'm in agreement to what they are spending. So keep in mind that by the 50-30-20 rule, that's in percentages. That doesn't mean that if I make $100 a month and my husband make $200 a month that we're both depositing $50. No. So if I'm making 100 and he's making 200, that means that 50% of my check, $50, goes into our joint account. His 50 is 100. So while I'm contributing $50, he's contributing $100, but we're both contributing the 50%. In my mind, percentages matter more than equality, and I'll tell you why in a bit. The way that we even came up with this method of the 50-20-30 is it's a very popular method already, but we found that it works for us, especially because essentials, we are both in agreement that essentials come first. So the essentials that come out of our joint account, that is what comes first. That should be paid first, and then lifestyle is second. So sure, we'll use 20% of our account for savings or investing if our finances allow, but then our 30% for free spending, that's lifestyle as well. Essentials first, lifestyle second. So an example, today's Friday, I got my check. I have automatic deposits that were already set up into that 50-20-30 rule. So I already made my essential payments. I already added my share of our essentials, like the rent and whatnot. Now I have 20 that I use I actually split my 20, 5% investing, 15% savings. So that 5% that I invest, I either invest in precious metals like gold, silver. I usually invest in the stock market. I just recently got into gold, but either way, that bucket is just for investing. The other bucket, the 20%, I pull it into a high yield savings account. So I don't even look at that money. And by putting it into a high yield savings account, it just keeps giving me more money every month. And the more that you put in there, the more interest income that you'll get from that high yields, or I'll get from that high yield saving account. And then that leaves my 30% that is just my free, have fun money, ball out money. I can use that for whatever. I don't have to run it by Leo for anything. I can use it for my nails. I can buy a new camera. I can buy tickets to anywhere. I can take him out to dinner, you know. I can go out with my friends. I can buy new shoes, clothing, literally whatever my little heart desires, because my commitments have been fulfilled by adding my 50% into our joint account. And maybe I'm just so biased because I always hated the idea of having to explain every charge to your partner. Like, hey, why did you buy this $3,000 laptop? You don't need it. Like, if I want to buy myself something, I will use my 30%, save it if I need to get the expense that I want. And not only that, but things like Christmas. Some of my friends have told me that Christmas can be hard because you want to buy something for your partner and that expense is going to show up like on your joint account. Or what if you want to buy presents for like your friends and like your partner doesn't like your friend? Like that's going to come out of their like money too. It's just way too complicated for me. So this is my approach. We've been living together. What is 2026? We've been living together for 4 years, 4 years. This has been working, and sure, like as our incomes have grown, we just keep continuing to split our paychecks by this percentage. And all that means is that if our incomes grow, that just means that more money gets deposited into our joint checking account. And it also means that we have more money to spend for ourselves too in our like free-for-all bucket. For Leo's side, he does his 50% into our joint account, and he manages his other 50, which is the 20 for savings and 30 for just spending. He manages that however he wants. I don't micromanage. I don't look at it. I don't ask him anything. That also like helps with our relationship because we have our own space to like manage our things, you know? Even though we're married, autonomy is still important. We trust each other, but we don't control each other. Okay, I do have to clarify that he and I do not make the same income. So his 50% share is not the same as my 50% share. But even though we don't make the same income and our contributions, our 50% contributions aren't the same, it still aligns with the lifestyle that we want. So our 50% still covers our apartment. We were able to purchase a new car. We're getting everything paid and we're living our dream life. So it works for us. And these are conversations and dollar breakouts that you should be having with your partner before you move in. You need to be very clear about what debts you have, what monthly payments do you have, what kind of apartment do you want, how much is the apartment that you want to move into, is that realistic? Do you want to contribute more than 50%, which I highly recommend you do not, because then you're straining yourself. These are practices that you should have regardless, but whatever, I'll let you do whatever you want to do. But yeah, having these conversations are going to save you a lot of money and a lot of trouble because, you know, the number one reason that people fight or couples fight is money. And this just reduces exactly that, having to have these money discussions. Just have them in the beginning, lay out all your finances, be very transparent. Don't go hiding your debt or this is not going to work. Or honestly, like you shouldn't even be moving in with someone who's not willing to like share their debts with you, much less marrying them. And I mean, if you guys are willing to contribute more just to make like the partnership work, just make sure that you're very confident and very sure that this is the path that you do want to take, and that it won't lead to any resentment down the line. I just remembered that when we first moved in, Leo and I were contributing equal dollars, not equal percentages. I think we were contributing both. Say, just for an example, we were both contributing $100, but $100 a month. But one of us was making $120 a month and the other was making $200 a month. So that left one of the partners feeling stressed about their other debts, like their personal credit cards, because personal credit card debt does not come out of the essentials bucket. That is your own personal credit that you chose to take on from your accounts. We keep that very separate. So we found ourselves one of us found ourselves being very stressed about that. And we realized that we were probably living like a lifestyle that didn't really fit the both of us. And so we moved into this percentage, the equal percentage versus the equal dollar approach. It's been working very well for us. So I want to wrap up the video by acknowledging that I know that money conversations are hard, but you have to have them now. Otherwise, they're gonna lead to bigger conversations down the road. If you haven't had this conversation with your partner yet, let me know in the comments. I can help you. I can create a video to help you kind of initiate this conversation, what things to say, what things to not say. Or if you're thinking about moving in with your partner and you want to have these conversations and just don't know where to start or what exactly to discuss, also let me know. My husband and I are very open with this. He kind of lets me manage everything. I also take him into consideration. You know, I see what bandwidth he has, like how much he has to play with, and then we take it from there. But I enjoy this. I enjoy talking money. So if you have any questions, let me know. And remember, it's a team effort, always, not pride, team.